to acknowledge that Todd Muck, our executive director from TMC, is here today. I'm sure you're also all aware that Mayor Kerr is the city's representative on the Transportation Agency Board of Directors. So great to see everybody tonight. Really excited to be presenting an update on FORTAG. We have some great things to share with you, and really looking forward to a robust discussion and getting some feedback from the group that we can then take away to incorporate into our overall design of the amenities for the trail. We have some interactive polls that we're going to try something new in the presentation tonight. Just to kick things off, we just have an initial poll question just to find out how familiar folks are with this segment of the FORTAG Trail, the Fort Ord Regional Trail and Greenway through Delray Oaks. If you're very familiar with it, you've seen all the videos of the presentations that we've done, you've attended past meetings, you've visited the website to see all the great content we have. If you're somewhat familiar, you generally know what's going on. Vaguely, you've heard about the project, but no firsthand knowledge, or this perhaps is your first time hearing about it, which is also great.
I'm going to give some time for folks to do the poll before I end it.
Thank you.
Yep.
Wonderful. There we go, Mike. I don't know if you can see that, but we've got our poll results in. Great. Most everyone is very or somewhat familiar. So thank you for that. And we can move on.
That's helpful. It's good to know that our outreach is getting out. Good to meet folks. So for this segment of the Fort Ord Regional Trail and Greenway project, just listed some of the project partners that we have. The Transportation Agency for Monterey County, we are the project sponsors. We included the Fort Ord Regional Trail and Greenway in our Transportation Safety Investment Plan, also known as Measure X, that was approved by the Monterey County voters in 2016. So we are the sponsors moving forward this project, particularly this segment of the project, working closely with the City of Delray Oaks, the Monterey Peninsula Regional Parks District for the access, the Americans with Disabilities Act compliant access into the Frog Pond Wetland Preserve, with the City of Monterey near the Fremont Boulevard, Canyon Delray intersection improvements, with the City of Seaside, also along the Fremont, as well as Plumas. Caltrans for the portions that run through the state right away. And then obviously we've contracted with GHD to assist us with final design and right away for the project. So just to start, wanted to give just an overview. Seems like most folks have probably seen this before, but the Fort Ord Regional Trail and Greenway, it's envisioned as a 28 miles of regional paved multi-use trails that connects the community surrounding the former Fort Ord with education, employment, business, and recreation. And the vision behind the trail is that it's accessible. It's a trail for all users, that you could easily see a family with a stroller or somebody in a wheelchair out there using the trail, along with bicyclists and pedestrians. So it's something that is made for all members of our community to be able to get out and enjoy all the different natural spaces, open spaces that we have on the Monterey Peninsula. This 28 miles of trails, this was all, the full FORTAG project was environmentally cleared in March of 2020. So we have gone through the California Environmental Quality Act process to get the full trail certified. And now what we're moving forward with is design and construction on different independent segments of the trail as we get different grant funding. So this first segment in Delray Oaks in Seaside, running along Canyon Delray, that is funded with primarily, as I mentioned, Measure X, but a large large portion of this was a $10 million state grant, state active transportation program grant that we received for this initial 1.5 mile segment to get things started. So we are fully funded on this first segment through final design right away and all the way through construction. So all the funds are ready to go. Just a close up on this first segment to refamiliarize with it. The project starts at Laguna Grande Regional Park at the intersection of Fremont and Canyon del Rey. Runs along the Canyon del Rey along by Safeway, and then tucks in behind Safeway to Work Memorial Park, where then it runs up along the tennis courts, past what will be the new butterfly garden. And then there's a section where there are no improvements along Angeles Way except just wayfinding signage on either side of the trail, where we will pick back up at the existing trail at Del Rey Park. So we'll have improvements to the existing trail. There's a new underpass at State Route 218 that leads into a switchback at the Frog Pond. So as I mentioned, that's the Americans with Disability Act accessible access into the Frog Pond Wetland Preserve. The switchback brings us back up to Carlton, where we will run up Carlton to Plumas, and then the project terminates at Del Rey Woods Elementary School. So that's the quick overview. I believe on the next slide, we have a video that I'm sorry. One thing that we do like to say about this is that this is more than a trail. It's an investment in the community. I mentioned that we received a $10.3 million state grant to deliver this project. But the great thing about that is that we're not just building a recreational trail. There's so many more components to this project that provides a great investment in the community for Del Rey Oaks. There's the Safe Routes to School component of this. So as I mentioned, the project will run up to Del Rey Woods Elementary School. We'll be providing bike racks, lighted pathways. There's educational opportunities, trash bins at key locations that we'll talk about tonight. It'll address safety issues at the Safeway driveway on southbound 218 by providing a dedicated right turn into the driveway. It provides stop signs on the trail, and it improves bike and pedestrian crossings at that driveway. It's also a new way to interact with Del Rey Oaks. The project will provide a safe, accessible pathway that connects 7 local parks and recreational amenities such as the Frog Pond, Work Memorial Park, the new butterfly garden, and the tennis courts. One of the things that we're really excited about is the facelift that we'll be providing to the tennis course. The trail will realign and reorient the existing tennis courts, and we'll be able to restripe it for pickleball courts as well. The great thing about this is that it actually saves us money. We're able to save $26,000 in construction costs, as well as preserve existing trees. Whereas if we left the tennis courts in the existing orientation, we would have to push the trail higher up onto the hill. It would have included expensive retaining walls and taking out existing trees. This way we can avoid all of that, which is great. And you get brand new tennis courts in the process. We'll also go by the trail in this location. We'll go by the new butterfly garden. So we'll be able to include a long-term permanent site with raised planters, stabilized surface with accessible planters, educational components, and seating areas and bike racks. As I mentioned, there's a chance to stop and enjoy the views. So not just trail areas, but we'll be constructing different parklets as well, as you'll see in the next video, particularly on State Route 218 in Carlton. We'll be taking an underused space and turning it into an area where the community can gather and enjoy being outside. And then also really important is just traffic calming along Carlton and 218, being able to make it safer, reconfiguring the roadway to slow down vehicles, add parking back on the west side of the roadway, all while adding trees and providing an entryway into the community. So with that, and now I believe that we're onto the video, and I'll hand things off to Lindsay to cover that.
Thank you, Mike. So hopefully you've seen some of this video, but if you haven't, I hope you will enjoy it. This video takes a walk through the trail and shows you some of the different features that we've been chatting about. First one, it'll take a look at SR 218 and North Fremont. And the reason why, or Canyon del Rey, the reason why we are here tonight too is to ask for your thoughts and input on some of the amenities and the theme of the amenities that we're putting forward as part of the project. And so as you'll see, this intersection, it's really constrained and tight, but there's opportunities to provide some placemaking using decorative paving in the sidewalk area. And then as we go into the butterfly garden, this really provides a wonderful permanent space for all of the wonderful things that are occurring at the butterfly garden, including a gazebo for some shade, some bike racks. So the bike racks and all of that is what we're asking tonight. The planters and the wall texture is something that we're also going to be looking at updating and getting your input on. Now, as we jump over to State Route 218 and the undercrossing from Delray Park, you'll notice that these walls that you're going through under the underpass are blank, and those are a blank canvas. So we are looking at opportunity to add some potential artwork, whether that be through stamped concrete, murals, painting. There's really a lot of opportunity here to customize the various engineering aspects and really make it tie into the community. And then this is Carlton at 218, where Mike was talking about reactivating this space. So if you can envision where all of the sidewalk is, it's all pavement, big wide pavement. And so this is allowing us to narrow down this intersection, which will improve speeds or reduce speeds and improve safety of that crossing. And then as we head up Carlton, we'll be pushing things to the east side of the road. So taking out those parking bumpers and the green paint and really providing that class 1 space. And we worked very hard to find the balance between adding in pocket parking where we can on the west side, but also pulling the trail away from the private properties and using the landscaping there as a buffer, also maintaining all of those existing beautiful trees. So that is our video. The link is here at the bottom. I will place that in the chat once we're done with the presentation, so you can go back and look at that at your leisure. So a little bit about where we've been. Mike, did you want to jump on in and talk about some of the history and the process? This has been a long time running.
It has been. So sure, I mentioned a little bit at the outset that the FORTAC project was first envisioned by two CSUMB professors, Fred Watson and Scott Waltz. They've done a tremendous job building this vision and getting out into the community to meet with folks to really bring this to reality. As I mentioned, TAMC became involved when we included the project in our Measure X and set aside $20 million in funding for the project. Just in this first segment alone, so I mean, you can see on the screen all of the outreach that has occurred since 2013, but just on this Canyon Delray first segment, to start things off, we really wanted to get back out to the community before we started with final design. So we've done a number of presentations to the Delray Oaks City Council. We've done some in-person walking tours to meet with members of the community to get their feedback. We've held virtual webinars. We've done physical mailers as well as electronic mailers. And we also had an electronic interactive website that posted a project map where folks could include comments on different aspects of the trail. So we've really tried to listen to the community throughout this process to take into account the feedback that we were hearing, and it's really helped us to design a much better project, I believe. So as I mentioned, things like the reorientation of the tennis courts, the butterfly garden amenities, the underpass, shortening the switchback and the frog pond. These are all things that came out about from community feedback, and we've been able to incorporate it. So really pleased to be able to share the visualizations that we've come up with, and take feedback tonight from folks so that we can continue on with final design and bring this to construction.
Thanks, Mike. And now where are we going? We are on the path to construction. So we are currently working on the final design, and that's where we want your input on the trail amenities. I also wanted to give an heads up that this week and in the coming weeks, you'll likely see some construction action along the trail corridor. It's just our continued investigation to help inform that final design. So we will be positively identifying where the underground utilities are. So there'll be a truck out there excavating and digging down to find the depth of those utilities. And then also we're doing some additional geotechnical investigations. So you'll see some people out there learning more about the soil. Now, FORTAG enhances a community, and we have selected a suite of themes to create a sense of place. And now, what is an amenity theme? It's really a suite of street furniture and surface finishes. Think benches, trash cans, fencing, paving materials, texture, and artwork that are placed along the trail. And how the theme will be applied is we will use a combination of need, opportunity, engineering judgment, context, and budget to put various amenities along the trail. Now, what I'm going to show you are the different themes. And so we've got the 3 themes. We have a modern, rustic, and coastal theme. And you'll see a bunch of different items on those screens or on these boards that represent what we can place. So exactly what's on there is not going to be the exact trash can that you'll see out there, but it'll be the theme and the feel. So don't get hung up on the nitty gritty if you don't like one little thing. We are going to work within the budget and within the site area that we're implementing these various amenities at to make sure that it works from an engineering, safety, ADA standpoint, all of that. So let's take a look. Before I dive into the individual themes, just an overarching look at the trail. You'll see these nodes numbered 1 through 9. The enhanced project features are highlighted in the boxes there. So we've got the Work Memorial Park Gateway. So that will be really more of a seating node and an area for people to stop and rest and look at the area. We'll have some retaining walls with benches and signs that say that say different things on there. Then we've got the butterfly garden, which is number 5. We looked at that one in our renderings and our video. And then we have our number 9, which is the Carlton Drive, Canyon Del Rey intersection with that switchback with the kind of the pocket park area where we've got trees and opportunities for people to sit and relax and enjoy the outdoors. Now, the other ones that are not highlighted are 1 through 8. We are looking at putting in different features there. So number 1 at Laguna Grande Regional Park and the FORTAG Gateway, that's really just going to be a wayfinding sign and an interpretive sign. So there's not much room there. It's a constrained environment. But as we get into the rest, so at 3, there's a rest area in Work Memorial Park design that's there before you start going up the hill to get up behind the tennis courts. Number 4 is the Work Memorial Park overlook. As you come out behind the tennis courts, there's just an awesome opportunity to really take in all of the wetlands, uplands, vegetation, and wildlife that Work Memorial Park can provide. And so putting an overlook there, a place again to stop and take in the beauty that this area has to offer. 6 is the entrance to Delray Park. That will be just a wayfinding sign because that's where the trail picks back up. And then 7 and 8 are opportunities to have interpretive signs. And some, as 7 you saw in the underpass rendering, we've got some opportunities to put in some bike racks as well. And potentially other amenities. So as I step through, first we have the modern theme. So these are more modern feeling textures and pavement patterns. Again, to reiterate, if this is the theme that you prefer or that you like, that doesn't mean you're going to get a retaining wall with leaves on it. It's just that look and that feel that we're going for. So it would be that more flat, classic, modern retaining wall with the potential to add in some Delray Oaks appropriate stamping and patterns along those walls. And same with the railing and the fences. It won't be this exact, it's just that look and that feel. So diving into rustic, this theme uses more natural looking materials, woods and corrugated metal, and really just provides more of a rustic natural feel. Again, the retaining walls, those material choices look a little more natural and historic. Then we've also got different mosaic options. And then the city of Newark, that is just a stamped thing on the pavement. And we are going to be stamping the FORTAG logo on the trail surface. So you can use that as a sense of wayfinding and know where they are and what trail they're on. And lastly, our coastal theme. Our coastal theme is really a combination of both modern and rustic. It provides a sense of being at the coast. You'll notice waves, boardwalks, sails, and on all three, you saw kind of the shade structure. We are proposing a shade structure at the Butterfly Garden. There aren't any other shade structures that are proposed along the corridor. And then the railing is needed for ADA compliance. And so anywhere where there's a drop off or a slope of a particular, a hill of a particular slope, we need to provide railing so that it's accessible to all. And now with that, I am going to enter our next interactive question. And Karen, before you put that up, but everybody, if you can move the poll question around, and I'm just going to switch to this next slide, which lays them out side by side. It's not the whole boards because you couldn't see them if I laid them out side by side, but it just gives you a rough example of what we're looking at. So put your preference and let us know what you think. And while you're putting in your preferences, I do want to say how we are going to use this is we're going to take your input and go back to the drawing board, or not back to the drawing board, but go back to our internal team and kind of look at where these implementations make sense. Where does it make sense to put in a trash can or a bike rack? And we do have a lot of those identified already, where we're going to provide benches versus seating nodes. And a seating node it will be kind of a decorative wall. So a seat block, you should say. Karen, how are the polls coming in? Oh, wonderful. So I thank you very much. I see we've got coastal and rustic. Wonderful. Thank you, everybody, for your input on that. Now, what to expect? Yes. Or what to expect next. We are going to use your input and the project team will finalize the design and incorporate the amenities throughout the trail. Be on the lookout for project update mailers and e-blasts. We will be sending those out periodically to provide an update on where we are with the project, where we are in the process. I know sometimes this final engineering thing can seem long and drawn out, but I promise we are working hard in the background, navigating all of the challenges that come with putting in a new design or a new infrastructure along a built environment. And our very last question, speaking of being on the lookout, is, are you on the FORTAG email distribution list? We would like to know if you are or if you're not, just to get an understanding of that. And if you're not, please make sure you go to that website shown on the screen, and I will also copy that website and put it in the chat for everybody so it's easy to access.
We can also put this on the city website, Lindsay.
Wonderful, that would be helpful. Thank you.
Okay.
And while we're waiting for everybody to come in, go to our last slide and say thank you. And our general project website is up there as well. And we are very excited to invest in the community and see this project through to the trail opening.
Well, I'd like to thank both of you. It was a great presentation, so thank you for being here.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you for having